meeting to order of the Oxford Downtown Development Authority, Monday, May 13th, 2024, 7 p.m. Please rise and pay respect to the flag. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have roll call. Catherine,
Oh, I'll do it, yep. Schultz.
Here.
Charles. Excuse.
Excuse.
Powers.
Here.
Colvin here. Carey.
Here.
Clark.
Here.
Knaus.
No word.
Wait.
There
Knaus.
she
Yep,
is.
she's
Come
here.
on, say yes.
Perfect timing. You're
I
here.
forgot about the extra long walk.
Knaus just arrived and Cook.
Here.
Do we have any public comment on non-agenda items? Seeing none. The consent agenda. Approval of the proposed agenda.
You want a motion?
Sure.
I'll make a motion to approve the proposed agenda and the meeting minutes as published for April 24.
I'll second that.
Been moved by Powers, second by Carey. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same thing. And then the police report and the code enforcement report. Receive and file those.
I'll make a motion to receive and file the police report and the code enforcement report.
I'll second.
Been moved by Colvin, yes, and second by Powers to receive and file the police report and the code enforcement report. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same thing. Financials? Yes.
I'll move to approve the financial statements and revenue expenditure reports and bills in the amount of $31,783.10.
I'll second that.
Been moved by Cook and seconded by Carey to approve the financial statements, pay the bills, in the amount of $31,783.10. Any questions or anything? Roll call, please.
Powers.
Yes.
Carey.
Yes.
Clark.
Yes.
Schultz.
Yes.
Knaus.
Yes.
Cook.
Yes.
And Colvin, yes.
Motion passed. DD reports, or committee reports.
So we are meeting with work committee on Wednesday. Since we moved our meeting up a week, it'll take place Wednesday, so you'll have 2 notes in the next packet. And I did the committee reports differently this month, in effort to minimize us going over things multiple times. So whatever is not touched on in the committees, then I'll touch on in the executive director's report.
All right. The ED committee report?
We also have not had our
Same
meeting
thing.
yet. It'll be on Wednesday at noon at Evergreen.
Promotional committee?
We can go. We met today. We touched on a lot of things, so I'll kind of go to maybe where things are actually happening. We did spring cleanup a couple weeks ago. They were productive, but had a little bit of low attendance from volunteers, so they needed a follow-up just to make sure to get everything done. So May 23rd is the next date that they're targeting, just to finish the mulching and the weeding and some other things that are needed around. So the other one, the summer market, like, we're really excited about that. It's completely full with vendors and even wait lists, so a lot of excitement around that, as well as the concerts in the park. And our impending interns we're hoping will help us kind of ensure the sponsorship packages are being fulfilled so that the sponsors see a lot of value from that. So with a lot of these things, as well as the weekly activities like the line dancing, the car shows, cornhole, all of that, I think collectively advertising it just so we can keep encouraging a lot of traffic downtown is just sort of what we're looking for support on. Everything else is kind of running along status quo. We have the tickets on sale for the July bar crawl, and the ladies 80s night is announced in full swing, so a lot of things coming up. We did hear a really nice comment from, I think, somebody from the Clarkston area that was commenting to an Oxford resident, like, oh my gosh, you guys have so much stuff going on, it's so awesome, there's always a lot of different, interesting things happening that for everybody to attend, so all good things from promotions.
Very good. Any questions or anything? Good. Design committee?
Design committee, okay, design committee met. As challenging as it is with the parking lot torn up, we have decided to move our next meeting off-site, so just a suggestion for everybody. We talked about the signage at the arches. We're working with Design by Chance to see if they can perhaps help us do something to, for wayfinding, for naming, you know, the quadrants, so everyone knows where they are, where the other ones are, etc. Planter boxes will be done,
Delivered this week.
they've been delivered.
They'll be delivered this
They
week.
will be
Yep.
delivered. They'll be delivered this week, that's good. Furniture update, we had some difficulty ordering the furniture because they didn't like our credit card for some reason. Declined
Yeah,
it,
Wayfair was mean to us.
so I don't know why. And we did discuss having virtual meetings future just because of the parking lot, but we decided to go off-site, which I think will be even better. We'll go to one of our local businesses and experience them. We did discuss 3 grants, 2 for the Blue Ivy, one a sign grant and one a facade grant. We'll go over new business. Also a sign grant for the new CFE, the coffee place, which is where we're having our next meeting, if anyone would like to come. We are expecting a sign grant from another business, but they didn't have everything ready, so we will probably discuss that next. We had budget discussion, but I'm sure Kelsey, Ms. Cook will go through that when we come to that item on the agenda. And upcoming events, we had flower planting on May 23rd and State of the Trolley on that same time, so if anybody can volunteer on that day, it'd be great. No updates on the placemaking. The main, there is a main event on June 6th for the Main Street, which I think everyone's been invited to, hopefully. I unfortunately cannot attend, but it looks like it's gonna be really fun, so I'm a little jealous.
Our community has the most people RSVP'd, so we'll have the biggest cheering section. We also applied for the most award/grants, so that's exciting. Probably just moving up the meeting is the last thing to mention, Catherine.
Oh, yep, we moved them to Tuesdays, the first Tuesday, at 9:30 due to just people's schedules for conflict. And I think that's it.
Very good. Executive director's report.
My bad, work committee, we did meet, we just met early in the month, so will you go over that?
You can?
Okay, well, Pete was there. So we reviewed quite a bit. It was a longer meeting, a 2-hour meeting, to talk about the 501. We went through the director evaluation and reviewed a strategic plan that we're gonna go over in new business. So I'm looking forward to talking about that. We had also chatted a little bit about interns, and then the gift card program and some of the things that were just brought up in the last month there. So one thing to note here, and we'll talk about it under new business, was also a title change for Kimberly, and that'll be under staff review. So it was a 2-hour long meeting, so I'm not sure how I forgot about it, but we did meet early in the month, earlier than usual. Joe Medor, our village manager, also came in and spoke with us about the budget. And that will be reviewed later in this meeting as well. Now, executive director's report.
Now.
Okay, so Main Street Conference was wonderful. I was able to go out Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I flew out Sunday night to meet with the Main Street team, but it was nice. I got to present on Monday, and it ended up being standing room only for the presentation on Washington Square. So it was nice to talk about our community, all the wonderful things that are being done, but also about that project. I had about 20 minutes of questions, and we had to end the session, so I got a lot of follow-up emails after, which was really good, about communities that are looking to do something like this. And a lot of good feedback from the Main Street team as well, so it was really nice to be there. I also learned a lot. I sat in on, this is my third Main Street conference that I've gone to. So I've gotten more picky about the sessions that I go to and learned really how to pick sessions that I feel like I can really bring back things and implement. And some of that for me this time was how I'm managing the office day to day and how to get more done, how to be more hands-off and depend more on the team and the board, but then also how to be strategic with our schedule and the business owners to make sure that, you know, we're doing a really good job of getting back to everybody. So you'll see in here that one of the things that I already made up some signage and want to implement and talk about at the huddle with the business owners on Wednesday is having walk-in hours that are set. What we're finding is, and it's wonderful that so many businesses and community members want to come and visit all week long, but what we're finding is that those conversations then go to 30 minutes to an hour and we're not able to get everything done. And a lot of it comes down to the application process for grants that I feel like we're not getting done in a timely manner to review and get turned in. So we're gonna set walk-in hours and then ask people if they're not willing to come during those walk-in hours, that they would just set aside time with us to make sure that it's scheduled. And this hopefully will just help us to manage our time better. I talked with Kimberly a lot about this and she was on board as well. And then the other thing was us submitting 9 grants, well, they're awards, right, of things that we've done in our community to the Main Street team. And we're really excited about those. I mean, those are complete grant applications. So 9 of them at 3 hours each. It was a lot, but I feel very strongly about what our team has done, and I want the Main Street team and the other communities to know that. So even if we don't win, I love the fact that now they saw these projects in depth. And some of those are from our market, turning vendors into spaces that are now renting out permanent spaces in our downtown, to, you know, having a downtown podcast, to being the first downtown to implement that. So I'm very excited about that, and we have 28 right now going on June 6th, so pretty cool that we have a big representation. We had a great lineup of podcasts. We just did one with Jack Curtis where we live streamed, so it's the first time that On TV has been able to do a live stream podcast, which was really cool to see. The open air market, I think the best thing to note is that we finally found a farmer to come in and do produce. So I'm thanking for that, because we had so many wonderful different vendors this year, but we really needed a farmer to tie it all together. So we're full. We've taken up a couple parking spots. We have a wait list a mile long. So it's gonna be a great year. And then we were able to solidify the history plaque that we've been talking about now for a while here. We're able to work with Drew Holt in the museum to start getting those stories, and our goal is by the end of June to have the first 10 plaques in place. And the nice thing is we're able to source from somebody local to do the plaques, and then working with the museum hand in hand, which I really feel like is really great for our relationship too. And they were thankful that we came to them. So all in all, great month, just busy as always. I did put my presentation in there, or at least some of the slides. I didn't give you the whole deck because we would have killed all the trees. But just so that you could get kind of a scope of what we talked about at National. That's it.
Any questions? Moving on to unfinished old business, the budget. We had, at the last meeting, went over the budget, and we had approved it, made the recommendation to go through village council. Village council had their workshop and decided that it wasn't enough, so we had a meeting with the village manager, came in and talked to us at the board meeting, and then also at another meeting with Kelsey and Allison and Joe, and then Kelly was on the phone. She was down already at the conference and everything. So at this point, I will turn it over to you.
Sure.
Kelsey.
Thank you. So, Yeah, so Village Council's budget workshop, and Allison is here to support and help answer any questions or provide input later if needed. But our costs for everything in general have really gone up. You know, and the village is trying to do a lot with improving the infrastructure and the roads and just a lot of different projects that are expected and ongoing. Our DPW works with equipment that is decades old. You've probably seen our street sweeper. I think it was definitely has a birthday before me, so probably like early 80s, since maybe 70s. It's been around for a long time. We have a front loader that's also decades old that our DPW superintendent is constantly repairing so that it doesn't break down. If that broke down, we couldn't fix it, we would be in a world apart. And so because costs have just gone up over the years, council did want the DDA to contribute additional funds in addition to what the DDA already contributes to the DPW for the village. I have a lot of the details if anyone's interested in exactly like how much the costs have gone up, but we thought that $10,000 was reasonable given the fact that the DDA's contribution has stayed the same year after year when the village's costs have gone up. And so, you know, the first thing we did is looked at the DDA budget and where could we take the money from. And one positive thing that happened from this is when Joe Madore went through the DDA's budget, he found some errors. That was in wages, FICA and MERS, and then also one of the bonds, specifically the debt service bond. On the new DDA budget you have, it's on line 727. And so when he adjusted those figures, we found, I think it was a little over $11,800 that wasn't accounted for in the DDA budget. And so the $10,000 fell nicely within that. So we want to take that $10,000, contribute to the village. The DDA still has an additional about $1,800 that we didn't think we had. So really, this request does not impact anything that's planned. So it doesn't impact any salary increases. It doesn't impact our facade grants or any other money that we have set aside for matching on ARPA funds or whatever else. So it kind of worked out well, at least in my eyes, to be able to get a little bit more money to the village from the DDA, and then going forward, we'll take more time to see what the contribution should be for the next budget year. I know council, I can just tell you, the council's gonna be looking for more even than the $10,000. So it was a good starting place, I suppose. So if there's any questions from the board members, I'd be happy to answer them as best I can.
Yeah, is there a line item on here that designates the contribution from the DDA to the DPW?
Yeah, that one is,
It's like 4,000 or something, I think.
yeah, let me find it. I'm not, Joe couldn't be here, he wanted to be, but he's better with this.
50,000 is what it has been.
It should say 75, it is line 712, it looks like.
So many lines of
I know,
small
it's
print, I
small.
couldn't find it.
So on page 21, it's
Okay.
under line 712, and the 75,000 is 50,000 to DPW and $25,000 to the police.
Okay,
Thank you,
thank
Kelly.
you.
Any other questions? My thought, or my comment on it is that the DDA, your committee, whatever, has been working our budget since January, February, started back in the process. And we worked at it, or talked about it at one meeting, talked about it last meeting, we approved it and sent it on. And the village comes back with, we need more money, we want more money. To me, it sounds, I mean, to be off the record, it just sounds like we're being strong-armed to basically get money from. Again, it goes back to years and years ago when we used to get tons of money that they used to take from us and everything. It was the same kind of thing. The DDA always says, oh, there's money in your budget, let's take it, kind of thing, which it smacks of, and I don't think that's proper. Our new TIF plan and everything has been approved, and going forward to automatically just say, well, we're not going to approve your budget, I have a problem with how that whole thing takes place. I don't think that's right. In looking at everything, I know we have talked, again, going back to probably the January meeting, we had also mentioned to Joe many times that we were also willing to put more money into it this year to cover for at least one more day of watering, because what's been done in the past is not working. So I wanna make sure that that one day of money comes out of that 10,000 that we're getting in, or that we better be getting at least that one more day out of the budget, if that's what's gonna happen. So, that's my comment on
Can I comment again?
it. Sure.
I just want to add that I think the relationship between the village and the DDA is a really good one. I want to make sure we keep it that way. I think our DPW is always willing to jump in and kind of go above and beyond from everything that I've heard, at least. I can share with you the increased cost, but it sounds like it's more of a principal thing at this point. So it was last minute to the board, I'll admit that. We had our budget workshops. This is the way we do our budget. The village walks through line by line in our budget workshop, so it just recently came up. And I mentioned this to both chairman and executive director. I think the board needs to have a budget workshop with the DDA, because the org committee seeing the budget line by line doesn't get passed on to any of the board members. We're just given it a couple days before the meeting, and my mind is not one of anything to do with accounting, and so I just trust that it's accurate and everything's accounted for. And so I didn't even know that there were errors in it until the village manager pointed that out. And so I'm happy in the end that we are not taking money away from anything that was budgeted, but I think we can work together better going forward if we have the same budget workshop process as the village does, where we can do it during a board meeting, or we can have a separate meeting where we sit around the table and kind of walk through it ourselves, rather than relying on the org committee to do that for us.
Kelly?
Just one thing to clarify because of the errors in the budget, and this has nothing to do with the 10,000, but I just wanted to be clear that the grant and the FICA numbers are put in there by the village manager and then given to me, so the errors were actually from the village manager in the first place, because when I fill in the budget, he already has those set for me. So I just wanted to make it clear that those numbers were given to me in their, in that state, and that I did not fill those numbers in. Just wanted to clarify.
Yeah, that's true. Yep.
One other quick comment, I understand what you're saying as far as how much work that needs to be done in the village as far as streets and so on and so forth, taking it up. But I think the DDA on our side of it with the budget, going back all the way to 2019, when we did the entire M24 road project down through town, I mean, that cost us over 300?
Over 4.
Over 400,000 that the DDA saved money over a couple of years to put that forward. I mean, had we not done that, we would have no parking spaces downtown, we would have no amenities, we would have no trees, none of that kind of stuff. So the DDA was, the one that drove that part of that to make sure that we got that. So that was out of our budget to be saved. We just spent close to 250, almost 300,000 for the northeast parking lot that came out of DDA money, because again, we budgeted, we put money aside to do it. So again, looking at it to the outside, it's not a slush fund that's sitting there of money that we're not doing anything with. There's projects planned, and again, if the DDA had not done that northeast parking lot, I bet it's at least 10 years or 15 years before that project would even been touched, because there's so many other things of streets in the village and water mains and stuff that need to be taken care of, that it's just unrealistically that we get to it. So the DDA took care of it, and I want to make sure that the DDA gets credit for it because we paid for it. So. All right, so do you need a motion from us then to revise the budget?
I would like that.
You want to go ahead and make that then?
Yep, so I will move to revise the budget as presented, contributing an additional $10,000 from the DDA to the village for the DPW.
I'll second.
It's been moved by Cook and supported by Powers. Comments on that or any questions? The only thing I would say, definitely that goes directly to the line item of the DPW, correct?
It's gonna go to the motor equipment fund, yes. So it will go towards everything that we pay the DPW with. That's the fund we pay them out of. We allocate their costs to it.
Shouldn't that be just the DPW charges that we're getting charged for, where it should be going to?
It will, I believe, all of the contribution goes to the motor equipment fund.
But that's where they allocate it from then?
Yeah, that's where they all charge their time too. Yeah. pretty work that's done in the village, which is, would be everything, yeah.
And, yes, Rick?
Do we have any ability to request that the funds be used in a certain manner, the additional funds, the additional 10,000?
You could make that recommendation to council, absolutely.
It's more just a question to your point of, making
Yes.
sure that we get the additional water or whatever it may be,
Correct.
so it just doesn't go into some big black hole.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, 'cause I think that that could be very useful, especially for our concerts in the park season. I know that we've had, not issues, but we've been trying to find solutions with DPW, especially for trash during those times. And I understand that that's a lot of work, but if we could get maybe additional staff to help during that time or something, more trash cans out, I feel like that could help justify some of the additional cost.
Yeah,
Very good.
I agree.
Anybody else?
I just want to clarify
Sure.
that the money that council is asking for is not to add on additional, it's to help cover the increased costs that the village has already incurred over the years. So you can absolutely, make any recommendations you want or have any requests, and I think the DPW will work with the DDA as much as they can. But I just wanted to make sure everybody, what I'm saying is don't expect extras because of this, to be blunt. So.
All right, roll call then?
Carrie,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Schultz,
Yes.
Powers,
Yes.
Knopf,
Yes.
Cook,
Yes,
and Colvin, yes.
Okay, motion passed.
thank you.
New business, sign grants. First one, Blue Ivy.
Yeah, so this Blue Ivy is just moving down the street. So they're moving on to Burdick. And I know that they're already in the moving process, so they got these to me very quickly. The first one is for a sign grant. And the posts are actually already there, so this is just for the new sign portion. So it's a very minimal grant, but they're also requesting a facade grant. So this one is for half up to $250. And it'll look just like their same style as their sign, same font, same coloring that you already see on Blue Ivy currently. I'm not sure if you want me, since there is so much paperwork, if you want me to talk through the facade with it. If that's easier, since you guys are already flipping through the pages now.
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, so the facade grant, you're gonna see quotes, 2 quotes for everything from painting to door install to lighting. So what we did in design committee is we went through each individual quote and we took the lowest quote from each, and then we did the dividing that way, and we ended up recommending a third. That's pretty much been what design committee has done now for the past year and a half, is recommending a third of the entire project together, just so that we can make sure that we don't run out of grant funding for our businesses. So that third is $2,750, and that will get them new paint. It will help them with a new door, and then also lighting on the back and the front of the building. And I think that, just personal opinion and the opinion of design committee was, they thought the building looked beautiful with the colors that they chose, still in that historic realm of things.
Everybody clear on that?
We had to do math at the time, it was,
Yeah, go ahead, Kelsey.
All right, I will make a motion to approve the sign grant up to $250 and the facade grant up to $2,750 for Blue Ivy as presented.
I'll second.
Moved by Cook, supported by Colvin. Any questions? The roll call, please.
Wait, I don't have my sheet. Sure. Powers,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Carrie,
Yes.
Schultz,
Yes.
Knopf,
Yes.
Cook,
Yes.
and Colvin, yes.
Motion passed, very good. And then the next one is the sign grant for CFE.
Yes, so CFE, they are another one that already has, the sides of the signage up. Just a new panel needs to go in there. So you'll see their design is very, nice, very plain. The black and white I think is beautiful, especially with their building. So design committee, recommended the up to 1,100, which is half.
Make a motion to approve the sign grant for CFE coffee roasters up to the amount of $1,100.
Been moved and supported. Any questions? Roll call?
Clark,
Yes.
Carrie,
Yes.
Schultz,
Yes.
Cook,
Yes.
Knaus,
Yes.
Powers,
Yes.
and Colvin, yes.
Very good. Next on the agenda, the proposal for strategic plan, POW strategies.
POW POW, right? This one came from when we were up, doing some, advocacy day up in Lansing. One of the directors, she was previously a director in Dearborn and then in Birmingham. She's also the president of the MDA board. She does a lot with Main Street, Oakland County, so I've known her for 3 years now. But Christina has a consulting business, and I started chatting a little bit about a strategic plan. It's been a long time since the board has sat down and done one. And some of the binders I have in my office are at least 10 years ago from the strategic plan. But when we found out that we wouldn't need all of our tech money for our 501, I thought, okay, where else can we use that? And this would qualify. So we met in person and I kind of ran her through what we would be looking at. So she put this together. It's $3,500, but in that, we have everything from a pre-planning and a session and a survey that goes out to our committee members, to our board. She would take our survey that Grace implemented to the community and review all of that. And then she would sit down and do a 3-hour in-session with the board and the committees to really evaluate where we are and where we want to go in the next 3 to 5 years. I thought the 3,500 was very reasonable, and she's come so strongly recommended from Main Street, and I sat through some of her conferences, and she's just very impressive. So I think this would be wonderful, and it's covered by a grant from Main Street because it's part of that tech visit. You'll see Project 2 on there. I did talk to her about once we have our 501, what would it look like to put a proposal together for a strategy and a way to raise additional funds once we have our 501. And that fee was a little bit higher at the 5,000 in my opinion, and after running this by org committee, I feel like the strategic plan is really necessary for where we are now, especially because we've completed so many projects in the past 3 years. I think we really all need to get on the same page of, okay, what do we do the next 3 to 5 and what does it look like for our community? So that is her strategic plan, and that's the proposal. So it's kind of up to you guys from here.
Yes.
A question. You mentioned that we're not going to use all of our tech grant for the 501c3. How much do we have? Why not? Wasn't that the full amount? And what
So
changed?
The tech grant is $7,500,
Okay.
and then the in-town training is an additional $1,500 that we have allotted for this year.
Okay.
The $3,500 was for the 501, and we were told that it could be anywhere from like $3,000 to $7,000. So you approved that at the last meeting for the $3,500.
Yeah.
Then we decided the second part of that tech grant would be with this historic project that we've been talking about. So after we got pricing on those plaques, they actually came in at only $55 a piece, which we thought would be so much higher. So we realized that we had additional funds that we have to spend or they get taken from us. So that's when we started exploring this option.
Got it. Thank you. And then, can you, is the tech grant an annual thing?
It is.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
But
Are you wanting us to choose between the two, or just?
it would be the
Approve.
project number one for the 35.
Yeah, just assume that this is what you guys wanna do, because let's be honest, you have to sit for 3 hours and tell us all the things.
Yeah, it would be for the 35. Grace?
My personal opinion, I think that this would be very good timing for us to do something like this. We just, went through our TIP plan, we're thinking about the future and where we're going as a DDA in the next few years, and we've done that from a budgetary standpoint. I think it would be good for us to think about the logistics of how do we get there, how do we start planning for, 5-10 years from now. So I do think that this could be a good launching point for us to start having, those conversations as a full board, because we also don't do a lot of things as a full board outside of the board meetings. Looking to the future, I do also think that this 501c3 launch plan will be something for us to consider when the time comes. I'm working in that odd space of municipal and nonprofit. Running a 501c3 is very different than what we're doing every day in this kind of work. There's a lot of nuances there that we need to be prepared for, specifically with financials, with doing an audit at the end of the year. So having that plan in place from someone who has experience doing that, I think will really help us in our first year or two running a 501c3 alongside the DDA. So just wanted to put that out there.
Very good.
I have a quick clarification.
Yes, go ahead.
The money left over from tech, does that cover this entirely, or?
Yes.
We're not covering any balance of it?
Nope, so we're actually still under a little bit of what we spent, so.
For the 5,000 as well, or just the 35?
Just the 3,500, yep, just if we move forward with the 3,500. So the 3,500 from this, the 501 project, that puts us at the 7, and then we would have an additional 2,500 left over, or 2,000 left over. So we feel like we can get completely through the plaque project with no additional money spent from our budget.
Good. Yes, go ahead, Councilman.
I'll make a motion to approve the Project 1 Downtown Strategic Plan from POW Strategies for the amount of, where'd it go, 30, that was a 3,500? Thank you. Yeah, $3,500 to be covered by the tech grant.
I'll second that.
It's been moved by Cook and supported by Perry for the $3,500 for the project. Are there any questions? Roll call.
Knaus,
Yes.
Cook,
Yes.
Curie,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Powers,
Yes.
Schultz,
Yes.
and Colvin, yes.
Very good. The next one, most important thing on probably the entire agenda tonight, our intern program.
Yeah, so that's so funny. I told them when they walked in, I was like, I'd like you guys to stay for the whole thing. And I'm like, wait a minute, you have to. We put you at the end of the agenda. So Lola and Larissa are here. And we talked a lot to the For Community Foundation about their program this year and what worked really well last year, having Reagan here with us, and then what we could improve on. And then Kimberly and I discussed it further. And what we found is Reagan needed the full 25 hours last year for a class credit. So that's why she had to do the 25 hours. But our hope was to find 2 interns this year that could kind of split responsibilities so that we could have each intern on separate projects in our downtown to get more accomplished this year. We also felt that by doing, having an intern for 2 days and then an intern for the other 2 days, it also covers our entire week rather than just 2 days like we had with Reagan. So we came up with multiple projects that we have talked to them about, and then we interviewed. We went through the interview process with not only interns that Community Foundation brought up to us, but also ones that we actually actually, I have a relationship with both of these girls, and I knew their work and their effort and what they could do for us, and I was really excited to interview them. And I needed Kimberly there because she doesn't know either one of them, and I was like, okay, what do you really think? So it's been a couple months now in the process, so we're excited to have them both here. So I figured you guys can ask them questions, but just to give you a little oversight of the projects that we would have them work on is everything from those marketing elements and the fulfillment. We have 15 sponsors that we have to fulfill elements for this summer, so that's a really big one and a project that we've already mapped out on a calendar, but that day-to-day fulfillment is what we really need help with. Breakdown for concerts and for the market, we're going to be putting Washington Square together and undoing it about 4 times a week this summer for everything we have going on. Farmers market, checking in of all the vendors. Cornhole setup, the historic project in buildings. Facebook updates, integrating into our social media more, so we're still, I feel like, lacking from an Instagram perspective, and what better ones to have young people do it. And then marketing materials and making sure that we're on foot this summer and making sure that we're getting around to all of the businesses, and even down focusing on the White House district is a huge goal of ours this year. And then also the fun things like downsizing the closet, because they're gonna take the other part of that house down over there, and we have to find space to go with all these things, which I know they're very excited about. So we have quite a plan for these two, but I'm excited to introduce them. So do you want one at a time up here? Larissa, if you'd start.
Sure.
So quick little note on Larissa, I was her director when she ran for Miss Teen Michigan, and that's how we met, and I have stayed in touch with her because I was so impressed with her background and just how hard a worker she was. So they're not as scary as they look.
No, not at all. So my name is Larissa Hollingsworth, and I am 21, about to turn 22 in a couple of weeks. I'm really excited. And I am a recent graduate of Grand Valley State University. I was a double major in marketing and business management. And because I did add that double major on, I actually do have a couple of online classes to finish in the fall, even though I did walk at commencement. So I do really see this as a great opportunity for me as I transition from my school life into starting my career. I really do love the field of marketing and business management. And I do think that even though I was really involved in my school, I was in clubs like the American Marketing Association, the Professional Sales Association. What I am currently lacking is hands-on experience in the field of marketing and management and putting my skills to use. So I would really be honored for an opportunity to work with you lovely people. And then another reason I do want this internship is that I have a deep love for the community of Oxford. It is where I grew up, and actually I was telling a couple of you while we thought the door was locked that last summer around this time, actually, my family moved to Lake St. Clair. And yeah, pretty far, it's pretty out there. And we actually only lasted a couple of months before we sold our boat and everything and planned on moving back to Oxford, because we just love this community, and this is the community we love, the people we love, and where we really do consider home. So I really would be honored to work with you guys and to have this internship. I am a very positive person, and I bring a positive attitude to the work environment. And I also am very eager to work after being in school for 4 years. So yeah, I've gotten compliments from my bosses in the past that I'm actively looking for tasks while at work, and I'm very goal oriented and have that driven mindset. So I would really be honored to work with you guys.
Anybody have any questions? Come on, Jenny, one.
What's your dream
Go ahead.
job? What are you hoping to do? Pie in the sky opportunity.
See, that's the thing with business, is that even though I am geared towards marketing and business management, I'm really just interested in anything to do with business. I come from a legacy of business owners, so I really do have a dream of starting my own business one day and being my own boss. I really do see that for myself, but there is a few steps to get there, and I want to be experienced before that will happen. So I think that would be awesome.
Yeah, I don't have a question, but I just want to say that I think you're very impressive, very well spoken,
Thank you.
and thank you so much for your interest. Kelly is a terrific recruiter, that's for sure. And so we're also honored to work with you and your energy and everything you bring to the table. So
Thank you so
Thank you.
much. I appreciate it.
How much experience have you had so far as working with the general public?
The general public. I don't have a lot. Like I said, I grew up here. I went to high school here, and I've worked in a lot of the businesses in Oxford, but I haven't had an opportunity of being hands-on in marketing and management. So that was kind of my next step as I look for my new career. So yeah, I worked in a couple of places in Oxford, but mainly been in school.
Definitely, the people interaction will definitely be a lot there, so.
Yes.
Very good.
Skint.
I do, yes. I was a waitress for a few different restaurants, and that taught me to have a really thick skin, working with in the service industry. Yes, so I grew
General
up with
public, right?
Yep,
Yeah.
yep.
Very demanding. Very good. Welcome. Look forward to working with you.
I'm very excited to start. Thank you.
thank you.
Thanks, Larissa. All right, Lola. Okay, so Lola comes to us. I met her recently in the last year because her mom is a downtown business owner. So her mom owns Twinkle Toes, Charisse. And so I have interacted with Lola in the store while she was working with customers and was just very impressed by her. And when her mom said that she was coming home to help her in the store, I said, is she going to be full-time? Because we would love her to intern with us. I was very impressed when I met her, and she just has a very positive attitude. And so I thought she would be a great fit, and Kimberly felt the same after our interview.
Thank you, Kelly. Hi, I'm Lola Boyer. So I'm going to be a senior at Michigan State University, and I'm in the
Go green.
Go Vikings. I'm in the
I knew you'd like that.
I'm in the Broad College of Business right now, and I'm majoring in marketing and minoring in leadership of organizations. And like Kelly said, I'm also working part-time in my mom's children's boutique here in downtown Oxford. As far as my work experience, I'm still learning and want to learn from this experience and get more marketing experience, because that is something that I want to do. And I think that this would be an opportunity for me to be able to expand that skill set. And yeah, I'm really excited to be interning.
Very good. Leanne, you got one this time?
Okay, dream job.
I want to do something with business too. My dad is like a businessman, and that's something I look up to, and that's where I want to be. And I do really like marketing and like the social media part of it. So hopefully I can get there one day.
Very good.
Great.
Kelsey?
I can't help myself, sorry. Just also want to say thank you for your interest, and I think it'll be fantastic. Michigan State alumni too. Broad College of Business is very difficult to get into, so congratulations on everything you've accomplished. And thanks for joining us.
Very good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, Lola. One thing that I liked interviewing these two is they have a different skill set, even though they both are into the business and marketing. Lola has a really strong background in a lot of different social media platforms, and that's one thing that we talked about. And Larissa, I had to laugh about you not with the public comment, because I'm like, you were a title holder, so you've had way too much experience with the public, because that you have to interact with all different forms of public. So, but yeah, excited. There's a spreadsheet in here of you, if you see the breakdown of each week and what they would be paid, what we would pay, and then what For Community Foundation would pay. So For Community Foundation would come in at the $2,000 grant opportunity for us, and then we would owe $27.84 as a whole for both of them for the entire summer. The nice thing is that we also put in there a training week, which I feel like we really learned with Reagan last year. We threw her into it, and we didn't have that hands-on training. And that was one thing that I was really adamant about this year, is that they come in and they know exactly what they're doing, so that middle of the summer we're not having to retrain. We need to do it up front so we can stay on task. The other thing about this too is with Larissa, her classes and everything, we would have the opportunity to carry her on to Scarecrow Festival and things like that. So that would be something that I would love to bring back to the board, depending on, you know, her career path and where we're at. But to have somebody who's hands-on throughout the fall would be so, so helpful.
Very good.
So I need approval on both of them.
Yes.
And it would be for the expenditure of $2784 is what the motion would need.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve a summer intern program for the two individuals we just met in the sum of $2784, and the remainder of the stipend would be paid by, what's the official entity?
4 communities.
4 communities.
I'll support.
Been moved by Powers, support by Colvin. Any other questions, comments? The roll call, please.
Clark,
Yes.
Cook,
Yes.
Knaus,
Yes.
Carey,
Yes.
Schultz,
Yes.
Powers,
Yes.
and Colvin, yes. Oh, Cook, did I call you?
Yes.
Okay, sorry.
Went quick. Staff updates.
Yes, so one thing that came up in org committee was changing Kimberly's title to an assistant director title. I don't feel like she was ever a project and media coordinator. I think we had different ideas for her when she came in 2 years ago, but she has really, she's done a great job these past 2 years, and I really wanted her to have a title that represented the hard work that she puts in. We are doing a $1 raise for her for this year, and this doesn't come with any more monetary, but I felt like a title for her really showed her value, and she felt the same way. So we talked about it in org committee, and I feel like everybody was on board. Pete can talk more about that.
Yes, I mean, again, it's one thing that, you know, a lot of times you throw money at people and it doesn't really make a whole lot of difference, but at the same time, when you give them a title or you're recognizing them for the strengths, you recognize them for what they've done and actually accomplished, I think it means a heck of a lot more. And I think she definitely is, you know, deserving to be an assistant, so. Org committee was very much behind it and definitely makes a recommendation to the board.
I'll make a motion
Okay.
to change the title for Kimberly Smith to Assistant Director of the Downtown Development Authority.
I'll support.
Moved by Cook, by Powers.
No.
Whoops, Colvin.
Colvin.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same thing? And last, the 501c3 Board of Directors.
Yes, so last one for you, and you don't have any material on this because I really just needed the discussion and to hear from you all. The Board of Directors needs at least 3 on it for the 501. It does not need to be this Board of Directors or anyone from it if you don't want it to be. But I wanted just a recommendation from all of you, how you would like us to go about it, whether you'd like us to bring applications to you, if anybody from here would like to sit on it. But I really just wanted your feedback.
Grace.
I have a lot I could
Oh, good.
have with this because I manage
Yes.
a 501c3 board daily. So my recommendation is that we do receive recommendations similar in the way that we receive a recommendation for someone joining our board. But the biggest thing to think about is identifying people for particular skill sets that they can contribute specifically to the 501c3 board. So you're going to want to look for, I know it's minimum of 3, but perhaps think of at least 5 to start with. Someone who is connected from the Council of Michigan Foundations, looking for someone who, you know, has ties to a business in the community, and then a couple of folks who are maybe at a community foundation or even in the finance world. We've had a lot of success from several foundations that I've worked with, having someone who works at a bank, for example. They have a lot of insight as to how the financials of a 501c3 operate when you're planning that budget or doing the annual auditing, which sounds scary, but it's just very easy. It's always really nice to have someone on that board who can take charge of, if it's only 5 people, they might just be, the budget person. I'm losing the word right now,
Yeah,
but when
yeah,
if it does get larger, you might think about having a finance committee and an executive committee on that board as well. So really starting to identify a couple of folks there, and then having at least one of us on the board to be a liaison. And I
Did
would,
you just volunteer?
I think
Did
so.
you hear that?
Well,
I
I
heard that.
heard.
I would be happy for that position, but I do think that would be it should be a titled role of board liaison,
Okay,
to make sure that is a continuously filled role by someone from our board who is working in a similar capacity to Kelsey here,
Okay.
who is liaising between the boards, making sure that we are operating with a collective mindset. But it is a very different management system, especially financially, so I do think really trying to identify folks who have a lot of experience.
and there were, the applications, Kelsey, that I passed you for board members, one of the ones in there was, in finance. So maybe we could even go back to some folks that wanted to sit on our board that were interested,
Great.
because they had some really good backgrounds in there too.
Yep.
Okay,
Very good. Any other
thank you,
comments?
Grace.
Okay. Any items? There were no items moved from the consent agenda. So we'll start with board member comments. Van?
Nothing for me. Happy Mother's Day. To anyone that it applies to.
Right.
I just wanted to make sure we didn't gloss over the historical plaque project. I thought that was super cool that we're bridging home and history, and it feels like we're really. I've been waiting for this one, so it's exciting, and I'm happy to help with Facebook advertising whenever.
You know, I'm coming for you.
Awesome. Very good.
I just want to extend a warm welcome to both Larissa and Lola here. We're very excited to have you with us, and if there's any room to pop in your training, I'd also love to talk to you about, writing from the perspective of the local government sphere for social media. So.
Thank you.
That'll help.
All right, so speaking of liaisoning between council, there's just a couple things I wanted to share with the board. I mentioned earlier, having the board review the budget at a workshop. Appointment of the DDA board members, there was a little bit of confusion over this last round, but by law, the applications come to village council president, the chief executive officer of the municipality. So in that case, it's the village council president. The village council president would then make a recommendation to council. So how we advertised it, the applications went to the DDA, which is totally fine because Kelly sent them to me. But I think the board committee started reviewing them, and I just don't want anybody to get, I guess, just caught up in like who's really making decisions about like why am I meeting with one committee and then I don't hear from them again. And so council is, I'm ready to, and I do like the fact that this board agrees. Like I still want, I would bring like, here's who I would like to recommend to appoint, and I would like the DDA board's approval. So that's just an extra step I would like to take to make sure that we're all on the same page. Again, like linking the DDA and the village to work well together. But I just wanted to clarify that way. So when the appointment tomorrow night on the village council agenda for a new DDA board member, if that passes, I assume it will, I'll go ahead and make sure to let all the other applicants who applied know that, kind of thank you, and now it's great, we have another opportunity to potentially use their applications for the nonprofit board. A couple of things that this was brought up, and I guess it was probably brought up the first time in March, but I know the DDA is looking at crosswalk projects, and so council keeps asking, hey, when are we going to see the crosswalk plans? Because council does need to approve. Council needs to approve crosswalks, and so I just want to make sure things like that where it affects village streets, parking lots, things like crosswalks have to go to council first before the DDA can take action for them. I know we have grant money from ARPA that we're planning on using. I would just hate to see us the board get too far ahead, or the DDA get too far ahead, and then council has problems and doesn't approve them. I'd rather just us all work together first to go in a certain order so that way it goes smoother. So I don't know if crosswalks are on the agenda for tomorrow. I don't think I saw them. So we're still waiting for that. We've been hearing about it for months, but we don't have anything. The last thing is staff reviews. So how the village does our village manager and clerk treasurer reviews is the village council reviews them. So I'd like to see, and these are things I've already talked to our chairman about, I just want to fill in the whole board from the village's perspective. I'd like to see staff reviews, particularly our executive director, done by this board, not the organization committee. I'd like to know who's on the organization committee as well. I frankly don't know. I haven't met everyone. I don't know their background, so I don't necessarily want to leave the review of our most important person in the hands of a subcommittee. I don't think this board ever gave the org committee the direction to go ahead and do a lot of these things. I think the org committee picks these things up, which is awesome because someone's doing it and we're all really busy. But I think it would be great if we could do the reviews, and they could be done in closed session. So that's at the election of the person being reviewed. So we put on the public meeting agenda, and then the person who's getting the review done can say, I would like to have that done in closed session, and then the camera turns off, everybody leaves the room, and we can have a candid conversation with our executive director, whoever else we're reviewing. And then same thing with objectives and goals of the director. So that's something I'd like to see added to this board's agenda annually so that we can discuss that as a board, and our executive director can make her recommendations. So that's what the village manager does again, makes recommendations to us. Hey, this is what I want to be working on. Council, do you agree? We tweak it. Sometimes we don't. He's usually great at knowing exactly what needs to be done, just like Kelly's great at knowing exactly what needs to be done. But I think it would just bring this board to be a little bit more involved in kind of the governance of the DDA. So those are just some of the council DDA liaisoning things I just wanted to bring to everyone's attention. So thank you.
Marie?
Just welcome to Lola and Larissa. We're excited to have you, and I think you're both going to be a fantastic addition to our team here. So if you ever get bored, I could load you up with some assignments too, as a business owner. But yeah, just excited for the summer too.
Me too.
Catherine?
Yeah, welcome. Enjoy the weather. It's a nice
Yes.
day.
Very much.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome, ladies. Look forward to working with you. I mean, I'll see you during the week, in and out and everything, but the most important, I think, is for the downtown people, the business owners, to see your faces and get to know you and everything. And, at this point, you're kind of like our figurehead that's out, not truly figurehead, but I mean, you're the face of the DDA that they're gonna see more on a regular basis. So it's, look forward to it, working with you and everything. Kelly, congratulations on just finishing up with Mrs. Michigan.
Thank you.
Yeah.
My niece just got, or my wife's cousin's daughter just got elected to Miss Teen Delaware.
Really? I love that.
Very good. Thank you, board, for tonight. We went over quite a few things. I tried to hold it to an hour, but we can't do, so very good. Any extended public comment?
Sorry to ruin your hour.
Sorry.
Allison Kemp, Village Council. I just wanted to expand on a little bit of what Kelsey said. Again, thank you all for all your wonderful work. The placemaking and the work that has gone downtown is a testament to you and to our executive director. I wanted to reiterate that the Village Council and the DDA have shared goals, and I want to have for us to have a strong working relationship. I do apologize for how the budget process came to be. To an extent, it's chicken or an egg, who meets first, and how things come to be. We could do better next time, and I do apologize. So again, thank you. We aren't raising your contributions simply because the village budget needs money. As business leaders, I know you all understand that inflation and labor cost has skyrocketed over the last few years. We absorbed the increased operating costs of the DDA and police because we really truly understood the purpose of the DDA. We respected that you were saving for the M24 project and for the Northeast parking lot project. But at a certain point, we can't continue to absorb those operating costs and the labor costs. The cost of equipment has gone up. We're working with equipment that is older than I am. It's a testament, frankly, to our DPW that they've kept those equipment working for as long as they can. Labor costs and personnel costs have gone up, salt has increased, repairs have increased. So that is kind of the reason we brought those forward. So again, thank you for your hard work. I apologize for how the budget process came to be, but I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else? Motion to adjourn? 8:05. All in favor?
All opposed, want to stay.
Yeah.